like the Buccaneers, the Atlanta Falcons finished 7-9. However, I believe they notched second place in the NFC South. However, they had the 16th pick in the first round, and with that pick, they drafted A.J. Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. And I gotta say, I wasn't huge on this pick. I gave it a C+. And Falcons fans, you maybe not want to hear that, but I just wasn't a fan. So let's talk about why. I understand cornerback is a need for Atlanta. However, I don't think this is the guy they should have taken. Maybe not even address this need now. They could have waited a little bit and drafted, a playmaker, an offensive lineman, maybe a more stud defensive player, maybe even a quarterback to develop. I don't know how many years does Matt Ryan have left. We don't know. But this pick, not a fan. Terrell, just overall not a fan. I don't think his stats are anything special. You look at him and they're not good, especially for a guy that went to the Clemson, who the last few years, in my opinion, has had a very nice schedule where they have not been challenged too many times until the very, very end, where it was forced. Only 13 pass deflections and 6 interceptions in 38 games at Clemson. That's not eye-popping or off the charts crazy. He didn't really play well against LSU in the playoff. Really was getting hurt by those wide receivers. And especially, that's even more revealing on maybe why he might not be ready or might not be the guy, because a lot of those wide receivers got drafted. If he can't cover them, they're not even going to be the best wide receivers in the league this year. So how will he handle the better wide receivers in the league? Or for when they play Tampa Bay, yikes, look out. When they play New Orleans, Michael Thomas, Ted Ginn, Jared Cook, there's so many weapons there. Kamara out of the backfield, look out. So, he's in a division with stacked offenses, and he couldn't handle LSU's very well. Furthermore, Terrell, he's below average helper in run support, and so McCaffrey will be running free if he goes his way. And open field tackling is very, very poor. Maybe it's lack of confidence. Maybe he's just not a very good tackler. I don't know. But overall, I think he plays decent coverage. He's got decent techniques, and that will definitely help him. But he's not polished, and he has a lot of work to do if he wants to succeed at the NFL level. So, Atlanta, you got your hands full with this guy. He's definitely developmental. He could get better. But so far in his life, he has not proven that he could play on the NFL level or the elite level. And that was your first round pick. So that's why I had to give it a C+. I don't know if he's going to have the immediate impact, but maybe later down the road, it'll be better than that C+ grade that I'm giving the pick. So he could prove me wrong down the road, but right away, not a good pick. That takes us to their second round, 47th overall pick, Marlon Davidson, edge out of Auburn, excuse me. It's not Alabama, but Auburn. And with that, I gave the pick a B. Davidson is a very versatile defensive lineman. He could play in, he could play out. And I think Atlanta is going to have to figure out where they're going to want to put him and then stick him there and develop him at that position. That way he could really start focusing and honing in his skills at that position, which I think will then make him a more consistent player. And I think that was his bigger weakness while he was in college, is consistency. So as a 4-year starter at Auburn, with the many experience, I think Atlanta finally needs to give him a home position. That way he could become, in my opinion, the potential he has is to be a decent starter in the NFL, and a reliable one at that. And with their third round, 78th overall pick, they picked Matt Hennessy, center out of Temple. I gave this pick a B+, because I do think Atlanta, of their offensive line, they do need to boost their interior. And I think with Alex Mack aging, he's 34 going on 35, I think it's a good move. You bring him in, he can learn from Mack. He could play guard for now, and then when Mack retires, you move him to center, or keep him at guard if he's a good enough guard. So having played both center and a few games at guard in college, I think that's good. He was a finalist for the Remington Trophy. That's another last year, so that's another thing to look forward to. And I think his lack of physical traits are hurt him, but he has great techniques and great ability that I think will overshine that and make him a solid offensive lineman in this league. And as a third-round pick, I think that's a sharp pick and a good pick by Atlanta, especially where they have guys there that could really help him take his game to the next level. With their fourth-round pick, 119th overall, they pick one of my favorites last year, and that is Michael Walker, linebacker out of Fresno State. Now, I gave this pick a B, and for all of you that played the college football video games, you're going to know what I mean when I say that Michael Walker was the impact player, the ones with a little star on him in the game. That's what he was for Fresno State's defense, not only last year but the year before that. He could play inside, he could play the edge, and I think his sacks are a little bit low, but there was two reasons for that. One, Fresno State, we haven't had a defensive line or defensive line talent worth a darn for definitely why he's been there, but even before that. So I don't think there wasn't other guys that teams were scheming around, which kind of made his time more difficult. I think the second thing, and this is probably Walker's biggest weakness, is that athletically and physically speaking, he's phenomenal. 6'3", 230. His combine results are good. 4.6, 540. 20 plus reps of the bench. I can't remember. I think it was 20. However, he doesn't play like he's got those traits on the field. He plays small. He plays not as strong as he should play. And I think, if you could fix that, maybe he'll get a little bit stronger while he's in the NFL, and maybe that'll make him play a little bit stronger. But overall, Walker, he's just a good kid, very loyal to his team, very respectful. He's a hard worker. He's a captain/leader on the defense. He's going to give you 100%. He was a joy to watch at Fresno State, especially week one. The play I'll never forget was week one at USC when we were down 7 or 8 points, and USC was at midfield. The game was running out of time, but they had a 4th and 1 about midfield, and instead of punting it, they chose to go for it to try and pretty much put the game to bed. And Michael Walker on the 4th and 1 bursts into the backfield, tackles the running back and the quarterback, and no good. We got the ball back, and our shitty quarterback, excuse my language, but that's what he was. Jorge Reyna threw an interception. But we'll not talk about that part. But Walker did his job, and certainly if we had Derek Carr there, we would have won the game. But we didn't. But it's a play I'll never forget, and he's just a great talent, and I hope that he develops and he can dominate the NFL like he did in college. So I gave that pick a B. I know after hearing everything I said, you're probably like, man, this guy's amazing. But I think he does have some work to do if he wants to get to the NFL level and compete like he did at the college level. So good pick there. But he does have some work to do, and I think he can do it. So with their next 4th round pick, 134th overall, they picked Jalen Hawkins, safety out of California. I gave this pick a C-. I don't think Hawkins is really going to help. He wasn't really amazing at Cal. His stats are nothing special. He plays poor coverage. His athletic traits, while they're good, they do not translate on the field, and overall, I don't think Hawkins is going to have that impact, and he might even get cut in his first year, so nothing special. With the 7th round, 228th overall, this was their last pick. They picked Sterling Hofrichter. I don't know how to say the last name, but he's a kicker/punter out of Syracuse. He was a 4-year starter. He averaged, in that 4 years, 43.2 yards per punt. And I think, if Atlanta does need a punter, I'm not exactly sure where they are in that business. But they drafted the right guy. He's really good at, when they're short, to make sure, it's not a touchback, but he pins them deep. So very good at like those pooch punts. He could punt it deep. A lot of airtime to help the defense or the special teams get downfield and make the tackle. So he punts well. He also, you might like this, he tackles well. He also forced a fumble. So this guy, he's not afraid to lay down the hit. And he can also do kickoffs. And he has the potential to kick field goals. As he kicked a few in college, even making a 52-yarder once. So I gave this pick an A- because it's 7th round, and if it actually is something they need, then I think they got a versatile kicking guy. I think he'll be able to handle anything they throw at him in terms of kicking, and so there's a lot to like about that Sterling. We'll use his first name instead of his last name to save the embarrassment. So anyways, overall, I gave the Atlanta Falcons a B. I feel like Atlanta's 2020 draft class has a lot of grooming to do. They got a lot of development to do. I don't really think they're getting any immediate stars or studs. I think their guys all, they play decent. They all have a lot of work to do, and if they want to make an impact on the NFL level. So overall, I think we're just going to have to wait and see with this draft class, but that's why I gave it a B. It might be, looking back at it, might be a little high. They only had, 6 picks? But, the upside for this draft class is pretty huge, and more importantly, they did draft for needs. They got needs, and they try and fill those spots with guys they best believe can fill them, and so really this class could develop and be everything Atlanta was hoping for. So with that, their B got them second in the NFC South with a B. So coming up will be the last team in the NFC South, the New Orleans Saints. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching the Atlanta Falcons 2020 Draft Analysis. Thank you.